This very special day, and it's the first of it's the first. I'm just actually testing here. Yeah, it's the 1st of February in most of the world at the moment. It's the 2nd of February here in Australia, and of course we're back in World Interfaith Harmony Week. It's very, very exciting to be back in this very, very special week, and all week we're going to be acknowledging the importance of this global event from the UN. It's been such a significant celebration for all of us at Unity Earth over the years, and you'll be hearing more about that. This is the pre-symposium event. My name is Ben Bowler. I'm the Executive Director of Unity Earth, and it's my great privilege and honor to welcome you here today for today's very special adventure as we have our pre-symposium gathering. We're looking ahead to next week on the 7th and 8th of February and the major Unity Earth Symposium, which is taking in these collective visions for a new Earth. What does it look like? We're asking the question for a healed, whole, planetary civilization that's in harmony with nature and all of life. What does that look like from an intergenerational, intercultural, interfaith, interspiritual, international perspective? And so we're really excited to be beginning the journey today, all aboard the trust train. And this is really building on the extraordinary work of Connie and Andrew, who we'll get a full introduction with soon, and amazing co-creators that are taking us through that journey. So it's going to be a wonderful session. Welcome, everybody. We're going to be hearing a little bit later from Sadhvaji Saraswati, Jonathan Granoff. We have some incredible music and sharing. So settle down, settle in, get your tickets, and let's get aboard the trust train. I'm going to do a quick introduction. We will travel on the trust train this evening with 4 different futurists. Our first conductor is Janice Hall. Janice is president of Natural Network International. She is a culture and business ecosystem designer and a social alchemist. And Janice, just before I bring you up, I want to ring the bell because it's time to go. We are all aboard the trust train. So Janice, let's get you unmuted and over to you.
Hello, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. I know we're all feeling the energy of chaos and change, and we're here tonight to share the positive side, but what might look like systems crashing down everywhere. So how do we ride the energy of chaos? Well, we're going to tell you tonight. We're going to invite you all aboard the trust train. Now, I'm sure many of you have already traveled to the new Earth. And some of you go back and forth all the time to help others. You work as conductors, bringing others one by one or groups into the new Earth. And you know that the new Earth is a world that already exists. And it is there and we are there, like future ancestors. And we all hope to build this future. Informed by Indigenous cosmology and quantum science. This is no airy-fairy trip. The trust frequency is like an interdimensional train we can ride to an evolutionary coherent future in the new Earth, of the new Earth, not the new Earth, all of the above. However, we can't reach our human potential and our future human selves while in the old paradigm. So that means we have to be cognizant of our thoughts, our words, our deeds, and our actions. And so we need to look for the teasers that try to pull us back into the old paradigm. The good thing, though, is that the trust train stops at every stage along your coherent future human selves. So it's patient and it's forgiving and it's loving. You are still a bit tentative of transiting on this trust frequency. You can take the local. The local gives you an opportunity to stop along the way and get rid of old words, old deeds, old assumptions, and old values. And if you are a bit more adventurous, you can hop aboard the Express. And so now we're going to take us on some stops along this trust frequency to kind of check in and see where we are so that we can make the most of this frequency. So now I'm going to introduce you to Rita Marsh, who is the founder of the Center for Human Flourishing and a nonprofit educational organization in Colorado. And she's going to help us understand where we keep these old words and assumptions in our body so that we can be cognizant of them. And then Maureen will help us clear the track. So Rita, why don't you step aboard the trust frequency train and give us a sense.
Thank you, Janice. Thank you so much. It's delightful to be here and delightful to be supporting the work of Connie and Andrew in the trust frequency. My background is in nursing, family nurse practitioner, but I became very interested in neuroscience, neurobiology, in the science of heart math and other areas of physiology that told me that in our bodies, in our cells, we can hold memories of past situations that can stop us from falling truly into self-love and becoming agents of our ascension in consciousness. And I'd like to tell you first about a gentleman I met a number of years ago. His name was Paige Bailey. And when I met Paige, he was teaching a program called Recovery. And it was a program of education that helped people move out of chronic pain states. And Paige had come onto this work because of his own life experience. He was a very talented musician and was to be a star in classical music performance with his clarinet, but an accident happened at a frat house and he was pushed through a plate glass door. The tendons and the arteries in his arm were severed. And when he woke after operation, tried to save his arm, the doctor said, "You will never play the clarinet again." He was devastated and he went into a period of several months trying to recover, the wound never healing. But he continued his studies in school and he was told by a professor, "I'm going to give you an aptitude test so you can find out what your future might be." He took the test and the professor, who he greatly admired, said to him, "Paige, you're going to be a master teacher." And those words changed his physiology. His wound started to heal. He moved out of chronic pain and he did become a master teacher. And he went on to develop curriculum at the college he was studying at. And then he thought, my goodness, how did this information change my physiology? And he realized that it was through receiving information, and a belief changed and his future had shown up and his whole physiology changed and he healed. So he developed a curriculum where people would be able to realize that shift in their consciousness and create new neural pathways, and healing and pain conditions could resolve. Well, the book that Paige took for guiding his curriculum was Larry Dossey's Meaning and Medicine. And this book was a great influence on my life also, that made me realize I could change my physiology. My younger daughter had 3 cats and she wanted to give one to our home. And I was terribly allergic to cats. And so she told me that, well, we'll have to send him to the pound if you can't take him. And really in my heart, I knew I loved this cat, but I didn't want to be miserable with allergies. So I happened to pick up this book, Meaning of Medicine, and came across this phrase that said, all the stuff in our bodies originated in not in the DNA of our parents, but in the interior of the stars, a minimum of 1 billion years ago. These stars eventually exploded after cooking their ingredients, spewing them into space. The planets were formed out of this material, and our bodies eventually came into being. Thus, we have our origins in the stars. This is not mystical or a poetic observation, but a scientific fact. Well, my whole physiology shifted. I realized if I'm from the stars, the cat's from the stars, and I can no longer be allergic to this creature. And so it was so. We welcomed that Andy cat into our household, and I didn't have rashes and I didn't have teary eyes. I was fine. So I just wanted to lay that information out to you to know, so you would know that if you take on new assumptions, your physiology can change, and especially if it's imbued with love, it will take you into the new future, into the new earth. Thanks. And I want to invite Janice to come back and introduce Maureen, who's going to help us clear the track.
Okay. So thank you, Rita. We now know that we may feel like we're stuck in our cellular memory of the past and the ancestral trauma, whatever it might be. But right now, we're going to learn how we can clear the track. So Maureen Edwardson, who is a futurist, pioneer, and author and originator of inner resonance technologies, which is fully explained in her book, Your Magical Evolutionary Code Unleashed, the Science of Inner Resonance. He's going to help us clear the track and help you release the background noise, whatever that might be, fear, doubt, anxiety, all that stuff. It's just stuff. It's energy. So when you release that and you shift that energy, you become the vision keeper that allows you to flow completely and easily in the rest frequency. There you go, Maureen.
Well, welcome everyone, because we're going from mind. We know that mind matters, and we are in this interdimensional adventure today on the trust train. And so we are all also out of our minds, because our mind is also a field all around us where the signals originate. And so now let us just breathe in that love, that conscious, loving universe. And I invite you to just join into just relaxing with your breath, breathing in and out of your heart with presence. And as you're present with your breath, remembering who we truly are as spiritual, infinite beings, part of and one with the conscious, loving universe. And inviting, there's seats for all. So inviting all of our guides, all of our angels, all of our spiritual team, if you have any of those hanging about, and knowing that they're always present with us as we say, yes, please, and thank you. And also allowing that our individual vehicle of traveling with the trust train, our bodies are fully ready as instant responders to infinite consciousness. And they're always ready and waiting to be there now. And so now allowing all of anything from the old paradigm that says, I can't, or I'm not sure how, or I'm scared, or I have all this drag of all this weight that slows down the train. All of what is no longer essential in the old paradigm. We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. So we're just clearing all of the muddied water of the meltdown of the caterpillar of the old paradigm as we now go into the other realms beyond the conscious mind and beyond the body's need to act anything out. So allowing all unresolved issues that are no longer relevant to where we're going and how to collaborate and how to be there in full trust of the new assumptions, the 10 assumptions with the conscious loving universe in the trust frequency. So just clearing the tracks, clearing the way, and just allowing all parts of who you are in any ways, any limitations or fears or anxieties to be addressed and dissolved, cleared physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, financially, relationships of every kind, because it's all connected and it's all here now. And allowing all levels of memory to be cleared, your whole life, every microsecond, all the way back to when you popped into the world, all the time you swam around inside, drinking up your mama's soup, right to the moment you were conceived, and all the generations of your ancestral memory that is no longer relevant to this moment and to where we are going. And allowing all of the memory of your soul, past, present, concurrent, parallel realities, to come into, in future, to come into a whole new congruency and coherence, to give us a whole new capacity of open space to align with the trust frequency, with the conscious loving universe, which is our divine self and our birthright, as we come into a confluence to co-create together. And so all of the air that we're breathing in, it's all recycled. We have molecules of memory from the whole history of the planet. We also want to include galactic memory, whatever that could mean to each of you, and the greater cosmic wholeness of oneness that we are all part of and breathing with, the great breath. So take a breath in and out of your heart center, 360. And just allow that there is a part of you that knows how to clear the way, how to come into a new congruency, a new level of coherence that gives us a whole next level experience of our greatest, grandest selves, all together, already in the conscious new earth together, as we create the foundation with the trust frequency today, as Connie and Andrew will be sharing what the assumptions are. What are the 10 assumptions for being with the new earth and traveling together? And so now, just allowing that part of you that is choosing for all of this to be safe and appropriate for you and all concerned at all times to say yes, allowing the journey to be one of greater ease and gentleness that we've been used to in the old paradigm, allowing effortless grace to just flow along that track and have a joyous time together, really enjoying the journey as well as our destination of simultaneous arrival. And so also allowing the part of you that's ready to be part of and one with this new earth and taking on this next level of foundation so that we can move forward together and create in unison and harmony. And so also allowing the part of you that is open to something different being possible in a different way than what we've been used to in the old paradigm. Beyond the mind, beyond the body's need to act anything out, to come into a whole next level of allowing and full receptivity to the trust frequency and the 10 assumptions for a new earth. And so here we are at this moment of shifting between the old and the new with the best of all. Thank you.
Incredibly wonderful concept, because it gives us the opportunity to know and understand that there is a very direct pathway, that it's provided by physics, by science, by our bodies, by Mother Gaia, by all the forces that exist. It's meant to be. So what we need to do is just embody it, learn it, live it. And you've given us a pathway. I have worked with Maureen in releasing some of my old paradigms so they don't carry them any longer. And it's remarkable work that she offers to all of us. And now I'd like to introduce Connie and Andrew, my dear friends for many, many, many years. And they are futurists, like.
Oh, dear.
Are you there? Are you there? Okay. And they're photographers, they're filmmakers, they're authors of The Trust Frequency, which is 10 assumptions for a new paradigm. And it's very difficult to encapsulate the both of them in a sentence or two. But they are visioneers in the true sense of the word, and have been living this work for decades and decades and decades. So without further ado, I will let Connie introduce you to the next level of the trust frequency.
Well, Andrew's going to lead us off, actually. Have a little male energy in this game.
Yeah, when I was a little boy, I thought I might like to be a train driver. You know, you'd see these trains puffing up the mountainsides in South Africa where I grew up, and oh, it'd be interesting to be driving that train. So here we are I'm driving this train. You are passengers, many of you, some of you are conductors, my sisters on this adventure, and we all make assumptions. And here's a spoiler: change your assumptions and the world changes with you. It's that serious, it's that simple, it's that true. The world we are currently experiencing is based upon a lot of assumptions that have been in our species for a very long time. It's time to let them go. So I have some really awful news for some of you, those of you who loaded your baggage on the train, and it went into the back car, which is called the baggage car. And when we left the station, we left the baggage behind. Oh, sorry about that, folks, but you're not going to need it. I hope you brought your bathing suit, because we're heading for a tropical paradise. It's going to be fun. So a tiny bit more seriously, this is serious work, but fun work. And we can laugh and giggle and kiss and stuff like that. We're newlyweds, so we're allowed to. And Connie is going to guide us on a meditation at this point. We're just going to sit and go on an inner journey on this train. Maureen, thank you so much. There were some boulders on that track. We heard it had snowed and some rocks had come down. She got them cleared. So the track, as far as I know, is completely clear from here to the new earth. Woo! And the old earth, we love you. Goodbye. Onward and upward. Connie?
Yes, it's a frequency thing. So onward and upward to higher frequencies and higher vibrations. And now we'll go on a little bit of a journey through a meditative state where we'll introduce our definitions and our 10 assumptions. And so just sit in your chair with a open, receptive state. Take 3 deep, slow breaths. Now, focus on your inner knowing. wherever that manifests for you, in your heart, in your body, in your right brain, in your left brain. Allow the words we will be offering to flow through that space without judgment. Accept them as absolutely true. Let any resistance melt into the now space and just be with the ideas that create the container for our time together. We will first offer some definitions of the words we will be using, then 10 assumptions for a new paradigm. Assumption, a core belief which we take to be true without question.
Would you like to alternate on this?
Yeah.
We're going to alternate on these definitions. A paradigm is a set of agreed upon assumptions which create a consensus reality.
Humanity, a collection of divine, autonomous, sovereign beings who have chosen to incarnate on earth to learn and grow on their soul's journey to wholeness, each with an individual purpose and a unique gift in alignment with our divinity.
Love, the fundamental unifying and creative force of the universe.
Frequency, the vibratory rate that determines the characteristics of a particular reality. There is a wide range of frequencies, each with its own reality and its own distinct laws.
The trust frequency, where the soul's destiny awaits with more abundance, balance, freedom, and joy than we can fathom, where the true nature of the universe is experienced.
Free will, the right to choose one's frequency.
Circumstance, the seemingly uncontrollable outward events that influence our decisions.
Consciousness, universal consciousness, the primordial life energy of the universe. Human consciousness, the 7 aspects of being human over which we have choice: awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing, which determine our frequency.
And finally, the universe, all that is, both manifest and unmanifest, also known as God, Creator, Atman, and so on. We call it the conscious, loving universe.
And now for the 10 assumptions.
And do you remember what I said about change your assumptions and the world changes with you? The first assumption, we live in a conscious, loving universe. There is only love.
Second assumption, the universe loves us unconditionally. It gives us everything we ask for.
The third assumption, we create reality by the power of our consciousness.
Fourth assumption, the 7 A's of our consciousness: awareness, assumption, attitude, attention, alignment, action, and allowing determine our frequency and are our requests to the conscious, loving universe.
The fifth assumption, free will is an absolute law of the universe. We have the freedom to choose our frequency. We are masters of our own destiny.
Sixth assumption, circumstance guides us on our journey to wholeness.
The seventh assumption, there is only now, this precious present moment. Living trustingly in the now, we experience the true nature of the universe.
Eighth assumption, all of creation is one. Separation is a man-made illusion. We are the conscious, loving universe.
Assumption number 9, humanity is on an evolutionary upward spiral, leading inexorably to a higher reality, the trust frequency, heaven on earth.
The 10th assumption, the trust frequency is a real place of unfathomable joy, peace, freedom, and abundance that is freely available to anyone, anywhere, anytime. Now, take a moment to assimilate these words, ideas, phrases, and assumptions. This construct on the conscious, loving, abundant nature of the universe that loves us more than we can fathom in the current paradigm.
We will close with this sentence that is a handy reminder of how to access the trust frequency and the new earth. It's in fact the foundation of a new earth. The 7 aspects of our consciousness that determine our vibration and frequency, and thereby our reality. They are our requests to the conscious, loving universe.
With expanded awareness and accurate assumptions, I choose my attitude, consciously direct my attention, align with my highest inner promptings, take committed action, and allow the loving universe to manifest beyond my wildest dreams.
And in closing, we offer you a ticket to ride on the trust train. And remember, trust
the loving universe.
Thank you so much.
And so now I invite you all to breathe in the conscious, loving universe in and through your heart centers, 360 in all directions, embodying these words and allowing this to be the new reality of your choice. The 10 assumptions in this conscious activation of our invitation or allowing, as we put our hands on our hearts, as we breathe in and out with incredible delight and adventure in this new level of awareness and beingness. And notice how that feels. Quite amazing how this feels. So as we breathe in with the gratitude and the feeling of the conscious, loving universe that we are embodiment of, collectively, no separation as one with all of us in this unified field. How sweet is this? And so this is your ticket right here in your heart. So I invite you into 5 deeper breaths to really anchor this in as your new reality. So first breath in, touching, and breathing out, just let your hands drop. Second breath in and touching. Breathe out, let go. 3 more times in our own rhythm, breathing in, touching. Letting go. Breathing in as the conscious, loving universe that we are. And finally, the 5th breath in, breathing in all the assumptions as ours, here, now, and always. So every day, do a touch and a breath and activate your ticket and get on that train. We'll see you there.
Thank you, Maureen. This really works. It seems very simple, but it really is a grounding point that connects you to all that is. And it's where you can actually live in the trust frequency. So we all of you, evolution is not a spectator sport. Also, you may want to know that Mother Gaia, you may already know this, is of course a living, breathing being. She's moving into a new incarnation, and she's invited us to come along. It's a new dimension. It works very closely with the galactic universe, and there are many codes being ushered down into the new earth right now to help us along. And we are all here to play a role in the ecosystem of the new earth. But we must integrate, we must embody, we must live this work and become our authentic, sovereign self in this ecosystem of the new earth. There's a role for everybody. Listen. And just to be clear, remember, don't worry, let the assumptions go, let the baggage go. There's no hurry because you can't miss the train. It's always leaving and it's always arriving and it's always there for you. You can never miss it. All aboard the trust train. Ride the trust frequency. Let's do it together.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Janice, thank you so much. Thank you, Connie and Andrew, Maureen and Rita, for that exquisite adventure and presentation that we've just gone on experiencing it together. You can never miss it. You can never be too late. You can never be too early. I just think that's a beautiful, beautiful message. And there's so much there to unpack in what each of you have said, from Rita's amazing stories to Maureen's, deep sharing around being able to, building upon what Rita said, change our perspectives on things, and then Connie and Andrew's real system of the 10 assumptions, and then bringing it home with trusting the loving, conscious universe. Magnificent. Thank you. I wonder, we have a few moments before we're going to have some heavenly music to help us continue this journey. Does anybody here have anything they want to say or share? We have a couple of minutes. If you'd like to say something for the panel, if you'd like to share something, if you'd like to ask a question, we just have a couple of minutes to reflect in this beautiful space of being all aboard this trust train to the new earth together. Has anybody got anything? Don't be shy. Jump in and is that Diane? Diane, did you want to come forward? Yes, Diane, please.
No, this is
Welcome.
yeah. This is nearly midnight in the UK, in London,
Right.
and somebody just knocked on my door, which is very late at night, and delivered a plant. Isn't that beautiful?
Not only
I
is it
thought I was
beautiful,
going to have to stay on the doorstep and miss the meditation and da 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 da, and they were very brief and just gave it to me and said, "I love you, I love you." Thank you, and ran away.
oh my
Isn't that
goodness. Well,
amazing?
that is incredible, and a lot of trust for you to open the door near midnight. That's demonstrating
Well,
trust. But if you didn't trust, you wouldn't have that experience, and you wouldn't have that beautiful
I leave my door
story.
open, to be honest. A lot of times I leave the door open. I trust the universe.
Oh my
That's
gosh,
why I'm here.
boy, there you
I'm
go.
shocked to be here, but yeah, I am. So there we
Diane,
go.
did you know the person?
I do know them, yeah.
Okay.
I've helped them over the last 24 hours. I've achieved a great thing. I've helped 2 years they've had with no gas, so no heating and no hot water. And I've just achieved that yesterday.
Oh, well done. Well, thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for staying up so late, and thank you for sharing that beautiful story
Well,
of
thank you.
trust
I'm so glad to be here.
and love and beauty. How magnificent. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Diane. Thank you for being with
Thank
us.
you.
Christy Michaels, we have time for one more comment or question for our panel, or reflection on what we've heard. Christy, you can unmute yourself.
Thank you so much. It was very sweet, and I so appreciated the inspiration for the elevated ideals of the new earth, and just this way that you all came together with an expression, very, very touching. It reminds me of, I guess it's kind of like an old saying that if you argue for your limitations, you get to keep them. And so what I saw you guys doing was arguing for our expansion of infinite possibilities. So we get to keep that. Thank you. Blessing.
It's a choice. There's choice in this. Yes.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Christy. I think that's an excellent reflection on what we've just heard and just experienced. Some beautiful comments in the chat, Diane, for you. Maureen says, amazing, Diane. This will be the new earth full of unexpected gifts. Well, that sounds like fun. And Connie and Andrew are saying, what an angel you are. Janet from Colorado Springs is saying, Diane, sending you another virtual plant. So to those who have, more will be given. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful? Well, thank you for sharing this uplifting message of abundance and love and trust. Connie and Andrew, congratulations. Beautiful journey of adventure. I know we don't want to call it a panel. It was more of a moving experiential ride, and we all have benefited, and we've shifted over the last 45 minutes. So thank you, Connie and Andrew. Is there anything you want to say, Connie or Andrew, as we close this section?
I just wanted to say that it's, excuse me, it's happy hour and we'll be serving cocktails in the dining car if you'd like to join us. We're going through this amazing canyon as I speak.
Right.
Magnificent.
Right.
And
Okay.
there's a party going on in the trust frequency, and we're all invited. We'll see you there.
Wow, not a party, cocktails. Janice, I can see you want to say something.
Oh, I just want to say really wanted this to be sort of a prelude and open up this channel for all the incredible people that are going to be at the New Earth Symposium next week. So we just really want to support everybody that has done such incredible work, and the people who you will see next week are people who have already visited the New Earth, like I prefaced in the beginning. They have been there, they live it, and they've just come back to bring us all there. And I just wanted to preface the opportunity we have to really live this new earth now.
And I have a travel tip. For every speaker that happens, with all of the wisdom and the joy and the embodiment of the new earth, do your touch breath, do your new earth breath. And you will embody that in your frequency that you activate every day.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Magnificent. And not only is there cocktails being served, but there's live music as well. And we're going to enjoy that together. So sit back with your new earth breathing, with your drink of choice, and we're going to enjoy this musical heavenly experience together. Let me just introduce Tammy. I'll bring you up here, Tammy, in a moment. Tammy Briggs is a therapeutic harpist. Her intention is to provide hope and healing for the world through transformational music. Tammy Briggs, thank you for being with us on the Trust Train. And I'm going to remove all the spotlights and then I'll just bring you up. Tammy, welcome.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Ben, for allowing both myself and Dr. Jenna Darko to be with you. We're going to do a transmission for the Trust Train around harp and horses. And our goal is to activate the trust frequency in different and vibrational ways. Before COVID, I played the harp at the hospital and hospice bedside. And when the pandemic hit, that all went away. And that's when I became involved in the peace movement. And my pathway to peace was through Tezekiah Gabriel, who I believe is on our call today, wonderful executive director of Pathways to Peace, and has been very supportive of Jenna and my work. And our goal today is really an invitation to help you with music and horses to activate your trust frequency even in a bigger, broader, and deeper way. And I am so honored to be co-leading this with Dr. Jenna Darko, and I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce yourself.
Well, no,
And then
I'll
we'll-
jump in there, Tammy. A pleasure to introduce Jenna. So, Dr. Jenna Darko is a film writer, energy healer, and secret activist who earned a PhD exploring the human condition. She has been immersed with horses throughout her life and shares a message for how horses can help humanity in the transformation into the new earth. How wonderful to have you with us, Jenna.
Thank you. It is wonderful to be here. Tammy and I are delighted to partner together, knowing that there are many pathways to peace. There are many routes that we can ride this trust train into the new earth upon, and that it all, as we know, comes down to finding ourselves in our heart, finding that place that is true within. And so for Tammy, the harp has been that kind of pathway. And for me, it's always been the horses. And as she and I began to play in our own fields and commingle, I read to her a quote that I had written years ago. And we thought that together we can offer a taste of this. And so this is in some recognition that these old paradigm ways have come with tethering or enchaining ourselves and others to some suffering. And so part of stepping into the new, coming into that fullness of our heart and being, is a matter of unwinding this wounding so that we are in this pure-hearted place where heaven and earth can meet in an embodied way that then can ripple forward into the earth. So noting that other species have long attended the human family in our construction of civilizations, but in the process, we've enchained ourselves. Now we can learn to abide in freedom and joy that is our birthright upon this beautiful earth. And there's a wonderful future ahead for horses to lead us into the higher potential as a beautiful, or as a peaceful and wise humanity, if we can learn to listen to the deeper notes being played when hoofbeats and heartbeats orchestrate the music of our intertwined souls. And I note that this can be mundane horses that we may have relation with physically in life, as well as that more cosmic sense of the horse, the symbolic, archetypal sense that has been with humanity for many years. So with Tammy, with the harp strings, we'll play our way into this heart. Recognizing that we have these kindred equine beings who were with us when we laid the foundation of the earth that is passing away, and who are with us new and fresh and bringing a new vision, a new reality, a new consciousness, a new earth. We invoke the power of the horse, that we may ride these new currents. Ease of grace. Of knowing our own divine majesty and that of others. We are all one in this field where we can be heard together. Feeling into our imaginations how the horse touches the with hoofbeats grounds those frequencies into the earth. Inviting us to live heaven on earth through the heart. Love that we may feel brings heaven to earth. Our time is now.
And as we come back together, I would like to invite us to think about a couple of paradigm shifts around music in particular. One of my goals when I play for these events is to help bring us into an altered state. Whether that's helping us drop into the meditation quickly, expanding our heart center, elevating our consciousness, or even simply coming into coherence of love and gratitude, appreciation, and peace. And the word trust comes up because when I play for these, it's literally I have to trust that my fingers will play the right notes. They will play in the frequency, in the vibration that is needed at this exact moment. And I want to just share one real quick thing about when I used to play at the hospital and hospice bedside. I would hear over and over from people, I had no idea how stressed I was. And when I heard the music, it made me self-aware of my own stress, and it gave me permission to release that stress, which helps, we know, move into that higher frequency, that higher trust elevation that Connie and Andrew have so beautifully brought that model in. So those are just a couple of thoughts that I would invite us to think about. And with that, I'm going to turn it back to Jenna to do her transmission of Horses and Healing.
As Tammy and I connect on this, we really realize that it's about frequency. Is this frequency, and trust is a frequency, and connecting with one another is a matter of aligning frequencies for resonance. What I find is that the horses have really begun to call many, many, many humans into deep honesty, integrity, authenticity of connecting, of resonating in coherence with one another. And there is a great movement that is happening. I feel like I'm kind of like a rider of the Pony Express giving an update where people in the community that is really bringing the new earth, we know that there are these frequencies rising everywhere, that there is this collective shift happening in any domain of life, because we're all rising together. And it's happening in the community where horses and humans meet as well. And so there are symposiums and summits and gatherings and retreats and quiet little moments just between maybe one person and one pony happening all the time, all over the earth. And there's some momentum gathering with some of these gatherings that are happening that really have given me a whole lot of trust that this paradigm shift is really taking place, because the horses show it to me constantly. They are a great companion to humanity throughout all of these different waves and phases of our evolution of civilizations. We have ridden on their backs into transportation and war, unfortunately. We engaged their horsepower for agricultural practices and building society, moving things as industry became the goal. And all of that has had its place. And that was a lot of doing in partnership with them, or doing in ways of coercion and force and control, sometimes pain. And now we are really being called into a new way, as with all things, of being, our presence being primary, our interbeing, our in-relatedness together being what matters most, and where the trust is, where the real life is, where the truth is. And so they're calling us into being first with them from that place of the open heart, the clear mind, the ability to be in the present moment. And from that place, then being able to do in connection with them. And I believe that they are going to be here as guardians, as mentors, as wise ones, as wisdom bearers, alongside as we recalibrate from what I see as from soil to cell of the body, this earth part of this equation, and from cosmos to soul, that heaven part of the equation. And I so appreciate, Rita, that you mentioned that we are cosmic beings, we are from the stars, and so are the cats. And so we are one with them in that way, and the horses and all of creation. And the horses have, just as the cats have, the great cats in the constellation Leo, laid some tracks. The horses have laid some footprints. The ways of partnering with horse and human are embodied in, for example, the constellation Sagittarius, the great centaur, sage. And so it always has been that they are these bringers of heaven also to earth. And so this is just a small taste of what I believe that the horses will continue to unfold in these kinds of communities as more of us who are engaged in transformational work, helping heal individuals, communities, collectives, cultures, civilization, as we step into this vision of the new earth. The horses are here, the horse people are here, and I imagine many will be coming forward in various kinds of presentations and offering retreats. And that's one of the things that the horses seem to promise and encourage and sometimes like really push us along, is to build places on the ground where we can tangibly be together and meet and anchor in these new frequencies and ways of harmony with the plant kingdom, the mineral kingdoms, the animal kingdoms, the deva realms, the heavenly realms, the angelic realms. And I know that this is just the beginning, but they have been long witnesses and they have a long view, and they will be with us. And I'll also just mention that there's a beautiful program and technique called the trust technique by a man named James French. And since this trust frequency is being really imprinted here so beautifully, it feels really wise to speak that into the space. It's all about going basically into still point, and from that place, then the peace can radiate from one's being into the field and from that place, a equine being. He's got beautiful videos with lions also, and the trust technique at rescue sanctuaries where they've been in some kind of a traumatized way, and you set that field of that trust and that still point, and all of the anxiety can melt, and you can come into this beautiful healing and harmony. And so I just wanted to mention that might be a resource for people to check into. And so all of this is on the way. I'm seeing beautiful comments in the chat, and so happy that many of us have this as a particular heartstring that plays, and to be able to name it and bring the presence of the horse along with the whole animal kingdom, as is being planted here on this call. So thank you so very much.
Wow. Thank you, Dr. Jenna and Tammy, for that beautiful heavenly experience we've just shared together, in bringing in the powerful transcendental energy of the horse and horses to assist and aid, as they've always assisted and aided humanity, and of course on this next great transition. Thank you so much for bringing that in, and Tammy, thank you for your exquisite and glorious music. I just want to call briefly on Chief Dwayne Perry, who's with us, to really respond to this essence of bringing in the horse people, anything else. Chief Perry, it's as always a privilege and a pleasure to have you among us. And I'd love to hear your reflections, maybe for Jenna and Tammy, or for anything you've experienced on the Trust Train journey so far.
Yeah, well, let me just say I'm sort of a child on this train, and it's been gratifying to understand there's a deeper understanding of self. And certainly when I look at, to me, the horse is sort of a metaphor for all of creation. And if we listen quietly to our hearts and to our minds, there's a lot that can be learned from the horses and from everyone else. And I just ask that I thank everybody for allowing me to be a small part, to be able to learn and to walk forward in this sort of different sense of trust. So I just thank you. It's a great learning, gentle learning experience for me. Thank you all.
Thank you. Love you and honor you deeply, and it's an incredible blessing to have you here among us today as we go forward. So who is going to be co-creating the new earth? Musicians for sure, absolutely. Artists, spiritual seekers, and pioneers, thinkers, visionaries, activists, you name it. It's all part of it. But what about diplomats? What is the role of diplomats in creating the new earth? Our next speaker, now officially, his CV is officially too long for me to even attempt to try and do it. But brother Jonathan Granoff, it is a wonderful privilege and honor to have you with us as we collectively as a community are working on this inclusive transformational work. Think about how we can traverse the valleys and the hills, the mountains and the streams that are before us, that are between where we are today and these beautiful visions for a new earth, which we're holding this week in Interfaith Harmony Week. So Jonathan Granoff, thank you so much for being with us, and welcome.
Well, thank you. And it's beautiful to be reminded that every thread in the web of life is part of the same weave that we are part of, and that the horse has its own purpose in coming into being, and the human being has a unique purpose. But we're living in a time of reductionism. Let me give an example of that. If you took a pile of rose seeds and you burned them, a scientist would be correct in saying the purpose of the rose seeds was to give off heat and light and become carbon. But we know that if the rose seed was planted in the earth and nurtured with water and light, it would bestow beauty and fragrance. the human being is very much like that rose seed. And we can be reduced. We can be reduced to instruments of production and consumption, eating, sleeping, defecating, procreating, and leaving. But we will not, in that instance, have fulfilled what it is to be human. For what it is to be human is to realize that mystery, that the entire ocean lives in the cup, that the human being uniquely is capable of knowing the infinite mystery of Source and loving all lives as one consciously. We are bestowed with levels of consciousness that make us human. When we forget that, it's exactly like the rose seed only giving off heat and light and not realizing beauty and fragrance. So my brothers and sisters who have smelled the rose of the heart, and as Rumi said, "Oh dear Lord, open my heart with the same calling that you called the rose to open." Because the rose has a calling to open and bestow beauty and fragrance. And the horse has a calling to fulfill its purpose. And part of the unique human purpose is that we have choice and we have levels of understanding of judgment and intellect and wisdom that are unique to humans. So I thought that it would be valuable to share some principles of inner and outer peace, like principles. That, it's amazing that you can get a PhD in humanities and never learn principles of becoming human. You can learn a lot of principles of describing the lowest denominator of human activity, but we're here for peace. Gratitude for being together is the first step in understanding what I want to share. And one of the most beautiful parts of this community, this global community, is everyone knows the secret of gratitude. The secret of gratitude is that without it, you don't get to grace. But when you have gratitude, on the other side is the space for grace. And grace is a gift that's always there, just like the wind on the ocean, but that boat can't get the wind unless it unfurls the sails. So these principles are principles for unfurling the sail of the heart, so that the grace that can move the ship of our lives can be caught and move us to shore. The most important instrument in an orchestra is not the piano, the violin, the cello, the trumpet, or the drum. It's smaller than any of these instruments, and the audience often never even hears it. It can be played by anyone, and musical lessons are not even required to play the most important instrument. But without it, the orchestra cannot make music. Without it, the orchestra makes merely sound. Music requires harmony. To achieve harmony, the tuning fork is required. To achieve harmony in an individual, the tuning fork with the two prongs of wisdom and love are required. Wisdom is that level of consciousness that can realize the luminosity of the soul and the nature of consciousness itself. It can recognize the mysterious source of goodness, the mystery not veiled in darkness, but veiled in light and love. It can realize the resonance of the divine, of the creator within creation. And it can discover the purity of the heart. It is also capable of gathering the tools of intelligence and commitment to bring goodness into action. Wisdom is very subtle and rare. As soon as the ego claims it, it disappears. As soon as one becomes a servant to the source, it's amplified. And without it, actions are consistently incoherent. Love is another word the wise use to refer to God, the source. And love is not a noun. Nouns have beginnings and ends. And even describing it as a verb is inadequate. Is it an action? That's not sufficient. It's a mystery, the boundaries of which do not exist. It's the power through which being itself arises, and it's inextricably connected to the kind of knowing that is called wisdom. Consciousness and awareness and the very journey of our life exists within this blessing of love. We're guided to love's power as the core principle by the wise of all traditions. When the two prongs are struck, harmony is manifested, and the instruments of the orchestra can tune. And each instrument plays its unique cadence, timbre, tone, and resonance, and when they play together, sound becomes music. When the instruments of our mind, our thoughts, our intentions, our lives are attuned to the tuning fork of the heart, our lives are beautiful. And when individuals arise in a society so attuned, successful leadership can be achieved and policies in accord with the three principles below can be practiced. And the result is inner and outer peace. And these principles apply both to our individual enrichment as well as within our families, communities, nations, and the entire world. These principles are guideposts for the flourishing of the spiritual culture that we know we're capable of. We hear so much about the bottom line. These principles provide stability for the bottom line, but they also grow upward without limit. The first principle, and I know we all know it, but I'm sort of like a mother saying, wash your hands before dinner. Treat others as one wants to be treated. Refrain from treating others as one does not want to be treated. The application of the golden rule in intention, thought, and deed is required for peace of mind. When ignored in individual relationships, communities, or international affairs, instability, discord, and suffering follow. When applied at all levels, peace and justice result. Greater security is achieved. This principle is the road and foundation of peace. But to apply it, one has to understand the perspective of the other. And in fact, when it's applied deeply, there is no other. World War I ended with burdensome reparations placed on the German people. The chaos of Nazism was the result. World War II ended with the Marshall Plan to develop the economies, societies, and democracies of Japan and Germany. Trading partners, democracies, and development resulted. The Sustainable Development Goals that all the nations of the world have committed to, and none have said they're not going to try to fulfill them, remain a global plan in that wise tradition. Even while a war is going on, oddly enough, at the UN, there's still serious discussion about fulfilling these goals. Nuclear weapons, however, where 9 nations say these horrific, immoral devices are good for them and not others, cannot be sustained not only because they're dangerous, but intrinsically because they violate the golden rule, where 9 countries say these are special for us. And they know that it would not be good for anyone if everyone had them. Nuclear weapons violate the second principle worthy of our attention. Love people, use things. Never love things and use people. Human beings have a sacred dimension, far more valuable than anything that can be measured by the intellect or the senses. When we love our own creation, things we create, as like nations, ideologies, dogmas, and objects and forget the sanctity of individual lives, every life we go astray. We're in balance when we use things to serve people. If loving lives is the considered metric of success, then nations would not squander intellectual and economic resources in the excessive pursuit of power, militarism, fear, and war. If we place this principle in our daily lives, our relationships flourish. We should always view how our actions and intentions impact real human lives. Human relations must never be exploitive or oppressive, and security must be focused on human security, which cannot be obtained no matter how much money is spent on weapons. Think of nations where children are malnourished and weapons flourish. 70% of the malnourished children in the world are in South Asia. 30% of the children in both India and Pakistan are malnourished. They've already lost it's as if they've lost the war already, and they can't be recovered. And yet billions and billions are being spent on weapons of mass destruction. And in the United States, we've pledged almost $2 trillion to modernize the nuclear arsenal. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights rests on the principle that every human being is endowed with intrinsic dignity. Human security is the logical outcome of this understanding. And the third principle I want to share is we must separate from ourselves that which separates us from other lives. Great Sufi Baba Muhyiddin demonstrated this by separating everything that separated him from all lives and merged in the consciousness within all lives, and thus loved everyone as himself. That's what Jesus did. That's what Buddha did. That's what Krishna did. And that's what we're capable of doing. Anger, pride, jealousy, lust, hastiness, selfishness, greed, arrogance, bigotry reinforce the illusion of separation and fragment our psychological peace and human solidarity, while love, compassion, humility, justice, patience, and gratitude reinforce the consciousness of unity with other lives, as well as the harmony deep inside us, and awakens the capacity of wisdom to understand how to act and how to know in every single moment. The same qualities that bring us together as individuals bring us into knowing and harmony with the soul and the mystery of the Creator and all and everything. The same qualities that separate us from one another reinforce an ignorance that forever feels unsatisfied and disconnected. Essentially, out of harmony, mind and desire can separate us from our birthright of peace. Love can lead us to claim it, and love brings us into harmony on all levels. Wars are fought invoking love of religion, nation, ethnicity. Let us invoke the power of love to bring harmony and peace within our hearts and amongst peoples, nations, religions, families, and the entire wondrous web of life, which our human family is but one thread. Let us explore what the wise have said. We're made in the image of God, the Creator, which has no image. We will discover that we're essentially mysterious, immeasurable beings. Something in your hand touches, but you can't touch it. Something in your eyes sees, but you can't see it. Something in the heart knows, but you can't know it as an object. It is the knower. And that knower, the wise from time immemorial have reminded us, is one. And that insight of the unity of the human family and the unity of being and the unity of life was always a precondition for spiritual awakening and fulfilling our humanity. But today, it's become a practical necessity, because only by that unity can we protect the climate, the oceans, address the rainforests, and address pandemics. They don't recognize borders. They don't recognize religions. They don't recognize nations. The wise have told us the human family is one. And we are the people who have committed to having hearts without borders, hearts that can manifest lives that harmonize with that one. And remember that all praise and all beauty and all truth is one, and no one can own it, and all are blessed by it. May we accept the blessing. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, Jonathan. Thank you for those profound reflections and sharing today as we celebrate the UN World Interfaith Harmony Week, and as we look ahead on this trust train to next week's Unity Earth Symposium and the visions for a new Earth. There's so much in your principles. There's so much in your principles that you have unpacked there for us, and you're working at the highest level of the UN to enact this incredible, agenda. Go ahead, please.
Well, there's an initiative now with the UN that's now manifesting, and it's actually committed by the UN, of a campaign of human security for all. That's essentially an expression of these principles. Now, the UN language doesn't permit this, but I can tell you that all of the people who are working to advance the principle of human security are coming from a place of spirit. And it's my hope, Ben, that we'll do some major unfolding specifically focused on how we can mainstream human security for all. It's a concept that essentially says that the human family is one, that every individual is sacred, and that the first duty of the state is to protect the individual, but the state can't do that in the modern world when our impact of science and technology is beyond borders. So we have to work together. So it's a challenge to the militarism, it's a challenge to the selfishness, and it's an affirmation of virtue that so many people are looking for a path to express the virtue lingering in their hearts. And our job is to help release that energy. That's what's missing. And I mean, I just spent the day at the UN in a session on reinvigorating the General Assembly. And no one talked about the beginning of reinvigoration being exactly what we're doing here today, reinvigorating the purity of the energy of the heart.
Yes, beautiful, Jonathan. And we are growing. And the work that you're doing at the UN is so significant and important. And this brand new funded campaign on redefining human security and bringing it out in a big way through culture, through the arts, through all the different spaces we have available to us is a big deal. And we're looking forward to playing a part and being a part of that. And congratulations to you and to the Academy for a successful launch. I wonder if Dr. Johnson is here. You may want to offer a brief reflection to Jonathan. Jonathan's wonderful outline. And then after Kurt, we're going to hear from Victoria and Irina and Yanni and the team that have put together the symposium. There's a lot to share. There's a lot coming up. And also there are events that are in the chat coming up around the MLK program that both Jonathan and Chief Phil Lane Jr. and others are talking about abolishing nuclear weapons coming up over the next few days. So some very important things happening, Kurt, but wanted to give you an opportunity to respond to Jonathan.
Yeah, no, thank you. So music to my ears. I was having to multitask here, but listening away to all this great stuff. One other thing I wanted to mention, and a big thank you to Jonathan, and I'll put the link into the chat, is that the SDG Synergy Circle of the evolutionary leaders, along with the Synergy Circle that Jonathan co-founded on unitive justice and global security, have a unitive justice declaration that we recently published in the Evolutionary Leaders Synergy Circle newsletter and general newsletter, which is really a companion to the unitive narrative vision of all the Synergy Circles. Ben, of course, is a co-founder of the Peace and Unity Synergy Circle with so many of you. So all of that is out there again in such a big way. And is also anchoring the thematic cluster, the NGO thematic cluster of 16 NGOs as a part of the major group program at the UN, which Tezekiah here is co-administrating along with others from the evolutionary leaders and others. So this is not only just happening in message, but it's happening, as Jonathan said, on the ground in such a big way. So in case you weren't aware of all those other dimensions, I'll mention those, and I'll stick a couple links in the chat so you can read the document that Jonathan, Elena Mustakova, Audrey Kitagawa, and maybe about a dozen more persons have put together on unitive justice. So thank you.
Brilliant. Great to see all these different initiatives converging. We are growing. This is our year to really coalesce and take it to a new level. Jonathan Granoff, thank you for being with us. We know you've just returned from the UN. Go ahead.
I apologize. It's my duty to cook dinner tonight in the house.
You are excused.
So I apologize. I'm with you, but and thank you so much for that music. It was very, I almost want to just continue the meditation, but then I thought, it would be good to do something that integrates senses, wisdom, the place of where there's silence, and intelligence. So, the intellect has value. It's not the ultimate value. The value from the heart is, but it has value. So forgive me for, a lot of words, but I thought those principles, simple principles, would be useful. So thank you so much.
We love it, Jonathan, and we love you. And please give our love to Moon. What are you cooking tonight, just quickly?
I'm cooking noodles with tofu and onions and garlic and ginger and miso, and then a salad of where we massaged kale with olive oil and garlic and lemon.
Wow, sounds amazing. I'm looking forward to coming to your house. Well, you better get onto it. Thanks for being with us, Jonathan. It was a privilege and a pleasure. Take care. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, Symposium team, here we are, the pre-Symposium event. It's been amazing, hasn't it? Connie and Andrew, the Trust Train with Janice and Maureen and Rita, and what about the music from Tammy, and then Jenna's incredible, beautiful spiritual message within all of that. It's just been magnificent. Jonathan's incredible foundations and principles. We're in a good place, Victoria. What would you like to say about the symposium coming up next week?
Thank you, Ben. Hello, everyone. It's good to see everyone on this beautiful screen. All beautiful pictures from all over. So the symposium, yes, it's really quite something, the symposium. A few months ago, Ben mentioned the vision of a new earth to me, and I thought, well, that's nice, And then he said, well, it comes from Isaiah, the book of Isaiah, not familiar to me. And I looked up the book of Isaiah, and well, frankly, there's a vision in there of the new earth that is just, well, it's just something that we can all get behind, really. And just an interesting thing in that book, and I'm paraphrasing, there was a statement that said that we would all live to 100 years. And if we did, we would know that we've done something wrong, because that's such a young age to pass over. So I thought that was really a good thing. Okay, and I want to say that our team here is wonderful. Ben Bowler bringing that vision, and it's constant. It's constant. The direction is so clear. And Rita Marsh, oh my God, all those people you see in the pictures on the ad, she contacted those people individually more than once. I mean, that is just, for me, it's unheard of. Really, it is just absolutely incredible. And of course, Yanni, Yanni's there with us, and he kind of brings this, he brings like the warmth and the togetherness for all his presence, just brings that to us when we're there. So we're all kind of bathed in that, just being there. And so I think it's just amazing what's going to be happening. And the first section on the prayers, by the way, the prayers, there's going to be a whole, the 7th, right? On Tuesday is going to be prayers. And so those prayers, you know, I thought, well, I guess it would be nice to listen to all these very, very expert people in the area of prayer. And then it just was given to me really quickly that that was not what was going to be happening, that I should consider, and I just bring it to you, that we should all be there for those prayers and put ourselves in them as if we're saying each of that prayer together with the people who are saying it. Because, you know, what Connie, the conscious living universe, you know, we're reaching out to the conscious living universe. And that's really, really special. Also on day 2, on the 8th, besides unbelievable speakers, there is also going to be a 25-minute breakout session. That's really long for all of us. And again, that is so important because in that breakout session, there'll be a recorder and we're all going to be asked to give our vision for the new earth. And it's just important for us to have all the voices so that we can see what comes out, what emerges that is really a whole, is that whole, the pitch of the whole, the statement, the music of the whole. So that's going to be really a special time, and I hope everyone comes to participate in that and really bring that forth. So thank you all. I hope to see you on Tuesday.
Thank you, Victoria. Thank you for everything you're doing and bringing and holding. And as you mentioned, Rita Morrison, oh my gosh, Rita has worked so incredibly diligently on this. And we've actually prepared this quite some way in advance, which has been amazing. And, you know, credit to Arena really for doing all of the heavy lifting around that. Communication, as Victoria has said, there's a lot of it. We have over 400 people registered now to attend. So we're super excited about going to another level of engagement and bringing different communities and different people together. And it is truly intergenerational. We've got school kids from Australia who are given their visions for a new earth, as well as, you know, giant spiritual leaders from India. And I mean, it's really comprehensive. Irina, what would you like to say about the symposium coming up?
Well, first, I want to say what a magnificent lead up to the symposium with today's event. This has been like absolutely amazing. Thoroughly enjoyed everyone. So thank you to Connie, Andrew, Janice, Rita, and Maureen for initiating today's event and calling us all on board on the trust train to enter into the visions for a new earth, but also to enter into 2023. And working on this year's symposium, I have to say it has been so refreshing. There's something very different that we're bringing this year, and the field that we created around the symposium, which we hope will set the tone for the rest of the year and the upcoming events in June and September. So yeah, it's been absolutely amazing. Of course, as always, a lot of work, but as I said, there's something very different and refreshing this year. So it's been very enjoyable too. So to be more precise, we have 490 people registered as of this morning. Obviously, we're not expecting every single person to show up, but it's the response has been amazing, much more than usual, not just with the speakers and presenters and artists that we approached, and pretty much everyone said yes to the event, but also with the registrations and people that want to attend and be part of the symposium, which once again, it's very promising to see that people are jumping on the trust train and also wanted to be involved in that vision for a new earth. So that really warms my heart. I'm really glad and very happy how everything turned out and where we're going this year.
Thank you, Irina. You've been constantly amazing in holding this down. And there's a lot to it. And it's not just the work that needs to be done, but the vibration of doing it, and you hold it in very much. Like I think Janice said before, a lot of the speakers next week have been to the New Earth, and Irina is someone who lives in that New Earth consciousness, and that shows through how this is coming together so beautifully. And it is amazing how people are resonating with the term. I mean, the term's been around for a while. As Victoria said, it's nearly 3,000 years old, right back to the original Isaiah. And if you haven't seen it yet, I had the privilege of asking Rabbi David Rosen to interpret the original text, which is an amazing, amazing insight. So many different profound insights that come from that. But people are resonating to it, Yanni, and essentially what it is shorthand for healed, whole, transformed planetary society in harmony with life and with all of life. And it's really just asking people, what's your vision for that? What does that society look like? We're not talking about a new planet. We're not talking about leaving the old Earth and going to another planet. But it is new in terms of whole systems transformation and inviting people into that vision space. And we're also, and what Yanni's going to be doing is really stewarding those deep, deep prayer space on day one in honor of World Interfaith Harmony Week, but also the power of prayer, which has carried us this far and will carry us further still. So Yanni, thank you for everything you're doing. What would you like to share about the symposium?
Hey guys. Well, I'm just very appreciative to be in this cauldron of the heart. Both what happened this evening, that lays such a beautiful foundation for what we're going to do next week. But actually, it's not even the foundation. It is that. It is that we are bringing into this and inviting, through our hearts. And I've learned for myself that something that we create with love has eternity. It will always be. It'll always just, any song we sing, any words we speak, any smile we give will live forever. And so this is what we're wanting to kind of offer. There's another seed of love, another seed of peace through this opportunity for people to come from all over the world, offer their prayers and to offer their visions, and all of which come from the same place, the place of. Thank you, Ben, for the vision to bring this together. Marina, we've been hanging out together for quite a while. We bumped into each other in India years ago with Mr. Benjamin there, and Victoria certainly, and with all these new friends that we met today, that actually we've known for a very long time, but now we've just come together again. So this is what we're doing. We're bringing us back home. We're coming home again. And we're coming hand in hand and heart to heart. So thank you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Amazing. It's a beautiful power of community and collaboration, connection and trust and love at work here. The Unity Earth Symposium, you should be able to find it. Maybe Irina can find the registration link if you haven't registered yet. There's still time. We'll put that in the chat. So let's open it up, friends, for another 10 minutes, just to reflect on anything today. Talk about anything you want to share in these next 2 minutes. I know we've got Patrick Caroline, who's one of the visionaries, who's sharing next week. Great to see you, Patrick. We've got people right, across the field here. So I'm going to open the floor. Vasiliki, I don't know if you're in Greece, but if it is, it's like way past midnight. Thank you for being with us. And we just want to open it up to anybody who'd like to share, a Noel, or anybody who'd like to jump in and offer anything. Anasuya, Linda, DeHart, Olivia, who would like to, who's got something to share? Noel, you might be talking, but you're muted. Let me you should be able to unmute yourself.
Mute. There we go.
There you go.
Hey, Ben. Hi, everyone. Bob and I are just back from almost 3 weeks in Costa Rica. And it was, I'm going to just say life-changing. I don't know. Maybe we even moved to Costa Rica. That's even in the hopper. But I would say one of the highlights was meeting someone. Okay, I don't know if I can tell the story real quick, but I'm not going to tell the whole thing. Well, let's just say through a series of coincidences, we met a Barbara Marx Hubbard student who lives in Costa Rica for 40 years. And I found out we were mutual Facebook friends. And we visited with her, and she has started 25 years ago, established the Costa Rica Humanitarian Fund and Foundation. And she has been serving Nicaraguan refugees. And the community that she serves single-handedly under the radar is 25,000. We were there, we helped feed 2,000, she feeds about 2,000 people a week. And provides all kinds of services to these people. Her name is Gail Nystrom. And she was a Barbara Marx Hubbard student. She was actually in Barbara's last class that Barbara was teaching. And so I would say that was one of the highlights of our trip. Although we saw the flora, the fauna, the howler monkeys, the white-faced monkeys, the flowers, the trees, the vegetations, the volcanoes and everything. But what it really came down to was seeing this woman who is single-handedly takes no pay, has a staff, no one gets a salary, and she's celebrating her 25th year. She was a Peace Corps worker in Costa Rica. And so that keeps calling to us. What more can we do? And so anyway, I just want to put into the field, if I'm going to put in the chat where if anybody wants, if you want to go to her website, which is just Costa Rica Humanitarian Foundation.org. It's just the initials. There's a 4-minute video, which is just outstanding, done by this guy. I think his name is Ben Keller, and he kind of seems to go all around the world doing these documentary briefs about people. But the one about her is absolutely outstanding. So anyway, that's something that's on our list. Also want to say that, there you go, that watching that 4-minute video there, Humanitaria, it's just outstanding. She's also aligned with the SDGs of the United Nations. If you scroll on down, you'll see she's doing all of this. Plus she's written 10 books. And she runs a Montessori school and a health clinic, and is just mind-blowing everything that she's done. So that was a real, we're still kind of just processing everything that we learned down there. That's Gail there in the first row holding the book. And those are everybody's volunteer. A lot of her volunteers are Nicaraguan refugees. And most of them are people that if they go back to Nicaragua will be shot on sight. So her right-hand people are Contras. And so anyway, that was a major, just heart opening to see this work that she's doing. She's built over 500 structures in Costa Rica. Doesn't take much to build the structure there. The other thing I'm going to say is that tomorrow, speaking of Barbara Marx Hubbard, her roommate, Sherry Herndon, will be our guest tomorrow with Laura George of the Peace Pentagon on our CCC call. So if anyone's interested in that, it's Thursdays at 8 o'clock, always Thursdays at 8 o'clock. So I yield the field. Thank you, Ben. Love you all. Mwah.
Thank you, Noel. Thank you, Bob. It's wonderful to highlight the incredible work you came across in Costa Rica. And, we all need to support these champions and heroes out in the field doing this amazing work, often with little support. So thank you for supporting them and for bringing them to our attention. We'll watch that 4-minute video. We don't have a long of time left, but I do want to acknowledge that Maureen and Romail Roy are here from Lahore. They've been doing flood relief, supported by Purpose Earth. on Unity Earth, and a lot of you who have supported them. We only have a couple of minutes. Noreen Romail, would you like to share something? I know it's like probably 5 in the morning or 4 in the morning for you over there. What would you like to say to us?
Hello to everyone, and hi all. And Here is the 6 a.m. and good morning to everyone. So I'm very happy to join this meeting, and I'm very happy to support the unity art and propose that in the our vision and the flood relief. So we are happy, and in this last December and January and Feb, we are arranged the shelter for the victims, and we are providing the all things like the warm beds and food, daily basis food, and shelters and shoes and grocery. Like the in this shelter, we are also give the short skills and all from the mail.
I can share, brother. I can share something for the working, and we are very thankful to you and the Purpose Earth and the Unity Earth for the providing the December to February still to shelter for the victims. About CMS Pakistan arranged the flood relief shelter home for 3 months, in which Unity Earth and Purpose Earth supported with us to save the people of this disaster. And the reason of the greatest success that we have benefit for the many people, and we are very thankful to the shelter many people and families in disaster for the flood relief. So lots of benefits and beneficiaries, views and requests, and thanks to Unity Earth team and Purpose Earth and all of you. So all the people are thanks to, and all the people are praying for your support, and we are still working that because we providing shelter, we providing food, we providing warm clothes, beds, on all of these things behalf of yourself and your support. But last stages, we are providing the rebuild homes, because all is things are destroyed, and people are on the roof and around the no homes and no so that's why we are sharing some beneficiaries views. So just two lines I can share you. A 10-year-old boy said, when I grow up and I want to do something as you, where I can help people. And a widow says, a widow said that I am very happy. Then today they are right. A God feel people live like these words. I know that God sent you that Unity Earth and Purpose Earth and all of you, so that people are know that God sent you, that you are feel to a cold and young brothers. He said that we are very happy, and that came to us and difficult time to took care of our children and gave the food and drinks and factor provide all the children's our winter seasons and warm clothes, warm beds. We are very thankful to the God, and God as right people like help us you. So this is a short views and beneficiaries. So we are sharing for these time, and I know that we work so hard, and last 6 months helping us, and you are and your team are work hard for day and night. I pray that you may God bless you all some way and connecting to work with good wishes and establish peace in the whole world. He said that right now he does not have any business. There is no work. How long will you care our burden in our shoulders? We request you to help our buildings and houses and business. Help us for businesses and houses, rebuild houses, so then we have live under the roof on our houses. So this is the beneficiary views. All the beneficiaries, they are providing these things, all the food, drink, warm clothes, and everything in the flood victim people. All the things are thankful to Unity Earth, all the team, all the proposed Earth. So we are very thankful to you and very respected. All of you thankful to you. You are a big heart for and big hands for the Pakistani affected peoples.
Thank you so much, Ramal. Thank you, Noreen's sister. God bless you, and thank you for being on the front lines to deliver this aid and for being directly on the ground there. Saint Teresa of Avila says, Christ has no body now but yours, no hands, no feet on earth but yours. Yours are the eyes through which he looks compassion on this world. Yours are the feet with which he walks to do good. Yours are the hands through which he blesses all the world. Yours are the hands, yours are the feet, yours are the eyes, you are his body. Christ has no body now on earth but yours. So thank you for being that on the ground over there, sister and brother. We stand with you. We're going to close in a minute. I want to ask Patrick Carolyn to come in as one of the visionaries for a new earth and just to speak anything that's in your heart or mind. We have a little song we're going to close with in a minute, Patrick, but anything you'd like to share with us at this moment as we close this circle.
Well, sure. Thank you so much, Ben, and thank you for this evening. It was absolutely wonderful. And I'm so excited about the symposium next week. I just wanted to share two thoughts that came to me as I was listening to all of the reflections tonight. One is a thought from Thomas Berry. Some of you may know Thomas Berry. He was one of the leaders of Christian ecological movement in the late 20th century, a Catholic priest. And Thomas Berry wrote, "We will go into the future as a single sacred community, or we will all perish in the desert." And, I'm pretty sure Thomas Berry wasn't talking at all about religion. I think he was talking about how we see ourselves in relation to all of creation and in relation to each other. And then a second thought I want to share is from a Sufi teacher, Llewellyn Vaughan-Lee, and he wrote that the world is not a problem to be solved. It is a living being to which we belong. The world is part of our own self, and we are part of its suffering wholeness. And so as we go forward and as we plan for next week, the symposium, and the symposium is just a kickoff for planning for a new earth. My spirituality is Christian, and I often ask the question of Christians when I give talks, and I ask, do you think Jesus came with a building plan or an evacuation plan? Because most of our theology is centered around an evacuation plan, and everything Jesus talked about was building the creation here on earth. And so I'll leave you with that thought. Thank you so much.
I love it. That's awesome. I'm going to stop